It's now my pleasure to introduce the co-founders of the Alameda County Fathers Corps. Please welcome Kevin Bremond and Gary Thompson.
My name is Gary Thompson. Good morning, Alameda County. We are here in Merritt College, and this is Father's Day in Merritt College. We are here to honor all things father figures, caring male adults, female allies. It's about the collective and our impact. When we thought we could do something like this, Kevin and I said, well, whoa, this is a lot. And for us to get to this point, there are a lot of people who helped us. So I want to take a few minutes just to acknowledge all the people who made this happen. I want to first start with my agency, Healthcare Services Agency, because without their support and allowing me to spend a lot of time with the Fathers Corps, this wouldn't have happened. So the leadership of Healthcare Services Agency, the leadership of Public Health Department, really made a difference in support of this work from its inception. I also want to lift up my staff. I am the co-founder of the Fathers Corps, but I'm also a program manager for the Fatherhood Initiative. And I have an awesome staff of 4 men who have been working tirelessly to not only support men in the community, but also support this effort. So I want to just acknowledge them for what they've given, as well as support me in this work as well. I also want to just acknowledge all the folks behind the scenes, all the volunteers, all the folks at First Five, all the folks at Public Health Department who have really contributed so much to Kevin and I. Again, this is about the collective. Lastly, I want to thank my mother and my father and my brother who's passed. They are my inspiration, they're my spirit, and I keep them alive in everything that I do. I also have 2 beautiful grandchildren who actually contacted me last night, actually early this morning. My granddaughter sang a song to me, and she told me, when you get up there, just be yourself, because that's what we love about you. You're always real with us, Grandpa Gary. So, why are we here? The Fatherhood Summit is about celebration. It's about music. It's about entertainment. It's about education. There are more than 25 workshops that we hope that you will participate in and get those pearls of wisdom. It's about connecting. It's about networking. It's about talking to each other. There is so much intergenerational wisdom in this room. We could learn from each other. We also want you to take advantage of all the resources. The pavilion on Student Building R that has all kinds of information available to you. And what's really unique about there's a tent that's there for you, particularly the fathers, to sign up if they're interested in support groups. Today is not just the summit, it's about the launch of 8 to 10 new services that will be provided throughout Alameda County. So if you need help, we're ready for you. All you need to do is go up to that pavilion and register, and we'll be in touch. Lastly, I want to say to all of you before I turn it over to Kevin, parenting, or should I say fathering, is an individual legacy. However, it is our collective responsibility to support children for a better future and for their better future. If we don't do that, then why are we here? It is about raising our children in the best possible way so they're competent, confident, and ready for their tomorrow. Thank you so much, and I'm glad you're here, and have a great day.
Thank you, Gary. That's a tough act to follow. Thank you all for spending your Saturday with us. I'm really impressed. 9 a.m. Saturday morning, and looks like we got probably over 200 people here, 300 people here. So thank you. Today is really about you. The Father's Corps advocates and supports all who identify as fathers and father figures. Today is about, like Gary said, celebration, acknowledgement of the critical role that you guys play in the lives of your children, in the lives of your family, and in your communities. So it's really about you. It's always been about you. When we started this work back in 2013, we wanted to bring together men and build their awareness of early childhood. But we also wanted to focus very, very intentionally and unapologetically on supporting fathers and father figures. When we started this, we had the idea of having a summit. And we're here. Imagine that. My name is Kevin Bremond. I grew up in North Oakland. I grew up with my dad and my stepmom. I was surrounded by 4 amazing uncles. My 3 aunts married amazing men, so I was very, very fortunate to be surrounded by great, great men. And that's why I do this work. We're here to support the great men that are out there. We're here to support all the dads who want to be involved, and we've been doing this work for over 5 years now. And for even the dads who aren't involved, I haven't met one who doesn't want to be. They may struggle to get involved. There are lots of barriers out there, and that's what this work is about, breaking down those barriers and supporting the dads who are involved and who want to be involved. So this is about all dads. This isn't just about the dads who are there. This is about the dads who aren't there who want to be there. So thank you. Also, when we started this work, we wanted to build the awareness of our providers and our systems. Historically, our systems have been set up to serve mom and child. And now we are starting to move the needle a little bit on that so that we serve the entire family. That's what this program is about. That's why you guys are here today. So I want to thank our systems partners for supporting this work, funding this work. I want to thank First Five for giving us the freedom to launch this program back in 2013 on an $8,000 budget. We've slowly but surely increased those numbers, and we've done amazing, amazing work, and it is all about you guys that are here, our Father's Corps members who have been members from day one, our Father's Corps members who just joined us today. We appreciate you, we need you, and we welcome you. And I'm just taking a minute to take it all in because this has been about 6 years worth of work. We've been planning this summit for about a year. And I am really, really happy and moved by your presence. So thank you all. Let me not forget Kaiser, our title sponsor. We definitely want to thank them. And I'll say they are our title sponsor, and they were our first sponsor. So back about 6 months ago or something like that, maybe a little less, they were the first ones to sign on. So we definitely appreciate them. To all of our other sponsors who signed on, who believe in us, we thank you. We couldn't have done this without you. To our first, like I said, our First Five team who were here late into the night last night, who spent a lot of long hours in the office, who don't even work for the program, but they have stepped up major, and I can't appreciate them enough, so thank you. They were here at about 5:45, 6 o'clock this morning, taking on jobs that, like I said, they're definitely not in their job description. So thank you to our First Five team and family. To my wife. Who has spent many, many hours doing this. And again, she is not on the Father's Corps payroll. So I thank her. She was here late last night, early this morning, and for the past month, she's been doing a lot to make this happen and pull this together. To my daughters who are in the building in the back, I love you. I love you too, baby. My wife, sorry, didn't mean to. My son, who's not here, he has a basketball tryout today, so I'm sad he had to miss it, but you know how it is. Priorities. To my dad, who is here. My dad and my mom were divorced when I was, 8, something like that. And we lived with my dad. And my dad married my stepmom soon after that, not too long. You know, the memory is what it is. So I appreciate them, and they are why I do this work, why this work is important to me, why I can spend 14 hours working and not feel like I'm working. It's a lot easier when you're doing something you believe in. So thank you for coming. My aunt is in the building. Anyway, all of that to say, I have a great family, a great foundation, and they are why I'm here. They are why I do this work. And to all of you, thank you for coming. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful day. It is about celebrating fatherhood, acknowledging you guys who don't often get acknowledged. And this is the first one, and hopefully the first one of many. So thank you very, very much. I look forward to spending the day with you.
Gentlemen, thank you for your groundbreaking work. Another round of applause, please, folks. Thank you, Kevin and Gary.
Fellas, how you doing? I said, gentlemen, how are you doing? Y'all having a good time? All right, so we're gonna bring up some great folks coming to the panel. And I mean, how you doing, Ignacio? So Ignacio, if you guys saw, Ignacio was on my Facebook Live on KBLX. Him and Jewel. Jewel, are you here? Where you at, Jewel? All right, so Jewel, how you doing, Jewel? And these young gentlemen had a chance to express themselves as men. So was Kevin and also Gary. So thank them one more time for coming up and talking about this wonderful event on KBLX. So our moderator for this next wonderful event, and I gotta say, these are gonna be dedicated to some phenomenal men of color, okay? So our moderator, Greg Hodge. Give it up for Greg. And he will be joined by Dr. Tony Iton, Senior Vice President of the California Endowment. Joe Brooks, Senior Fellow from Policy Link. Dr. Jeffrey Watson of the Watson Wellness Center. Every time I say Watson, I think of Coming to America when he was like, Randy Watson, I'm just playing. Just playing with you, man. And also, too, we have the Merritt College Black Student Union President, Gerald Robinson. Jeff Andrade, founder of Roses and Concrete. Pastor Michael McBride. Dr. Mateo Payne, CEO of Youth Uprising. Dr. Kenneth Green, Kaiser Permanente and community advocate. Kaiser Permanente and community advocate, Daniel Mora. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you the power of fatherhood, changing the game.
All right. And I think we had at least one other person, Danny's here, Danny Moore, good to see you. And did we get everybody? Because we know we had a few folks that were, Joel Laguerre. Is he in the room? All right. Cool, I don't need a chair. Thank you. How's everybody doing? Y'all doing all right? Good. Maestro Jerry set it off. We did our ceremonial work this morning, so we know that everybody is ready for this conversation. I've been joined on the stage by some amazing men who do work in this community. And as we get going, what I want to do is give you an opportunity just to talk to your neighbor. You know, some of y'all go to church and say, neighbor? Y'all know how that goes, right? But here's what I want you to do. I want you to ask the person next to you to describe, like, what are some of the ideal qualities of a father? Like, whether you had a dad in your life or not, whether you're a dad or not, but when you think about, like, what are the qualities, the attributes of a dad, of a father, or a caregiver for kids, what might that be? So just talk among yourselves for just a second. And if you turn the house lights up for just a minute, that'd be great, just so we can see who's in the room. Just talk to your neighbor for just a second. I'm gonna ask y'all to do the same thing, because this is gonna be the first question I answer. It's like, what are the attributes of, like, what are the things you think are the most amazing? First of all, is everybody up here a dad? Everybody, you're not a dad, okay, so you're a dad, you're a potential dad. All right, and we're not gonna go through all of them like that anyway. But if you think about it, like, like what, if you had your dad in your life, or if you didn't, like, what qualities, so that's gonna be the first question. And this is gonna be more of a conversation. We're not gonna go through each and every one of those questions. We also, they told me we're gonna run a little short time, so we're gonna have to, like, trim this by probably 15, 20 minutes. So when you answer something, be as brief and brilliant as you can be. Cool. Brief and brilliant. Brief and brilliant. Brief and brilliant. I know they are. All right. So I'm gonna ask you to thank your neighbor, thank the person you were talking to. It's important for us to get to know each other. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask the men here on the stage with me to answer the same question I asked you. And they're gonna start, if I get everybody's attention, they're gonna start by saying their name, and if they are a father, their children's names. And they can even say, I'm the son of, I'm gonna just demonstrate. My name is Greg Hodge. I'm the father of Shanaka, Jakrudi, Kumi, Imani, and Adia. I'm the son of Bobby and David Hodge. And I think one of the most important attributes of being a dad is having patience. Being able to actually have patience with the people around you, right? So as we get going this morning, I'm gonna ask the gentleman here to do the same thing. Your name, identify and represent yourself by your children. You know, like I represent Brotherhood Elders Network as well, but don't talk about that part. Talk about how you represent your family. So I'm gonna start on this end with my friend. You gonna start on that end? We're gonna start on that end, all right. So he's flipping it already to Dr. Iden. So first of all, y'all give Dr. Tony Iden a round of applause for being here this morning. Tony.
Thank you, Greg. And I wish I could acknowledge Greg and Arnold Perkins, who are some of the greatest leaders in this community around fatherhood issues. And I could tell stories about Arnold. And many of you, I'm sure, know of some of them. So I'm Tony Iten, and I am the father of Satchel, Carmen, Angela, and Ella. And I am the son of Carmen and John Iten. And I think one of the biggest attributes of being a father, the most important attributes, are time. Spending time with your kids, even if it's in the most boring thing, getting down on the floor, climbing up in the tree, going on the ski hill, doing whatever, spending time.
Thank you for that. Papa Joe.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Joe Brooks. I'm the husband of Iris Brooks, and I'm the father of Kisasi Brooks and Aisha Austin. and I am the grandfather of Josiah, Pelea, Riley, and Kaya, and I'm the grandson of Reverend Henry B. Franklin and Lizzie Leola Franklin, and I think I would suggest that being a father to me is listening and tolerance.
Oh, thank you for that, Bobby.
Michelle Payne, and my sons are Elijah and Cameron Payne, and I think that a key attribute to fatherhood is you gotta have a sense of humor. Particularly, you gotta laugh at yourself. Perfection is the enemy of doing any good in this world, and when you accept failure is gonna happen in the little ways and in the big ways, and you just gotta be open to the lesson in it and try to have a sense of humor.
Cool, thank you. Thank you for that.
My name's Gerald Robinson, and I am the son of Gerald Robinson. I'm actually a junior. I don't have any kids, so.
He potential. He potential. He got potential.
One of the main attributes I think of being a father is what I wish I had is a teacher, good teacher to teach me not only stuff being a man, but also just things I should learn in school as well. Like your parents, specifically your dad to the male, should be your main teacher over anybody. So.
Cool, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, y'all clap for that.
Good afternoon, or I guess it's still morning.
It's still morning for a little bit longer.
So I'll start by acknowledging my sons who are sitting right here, Amaru and Tayari. I am the son of Ara Graciela and William Jackson. And I also want to acknowledge that I've had so many big homies in my life that has saved my life in so many different ways. Two of them are here in the room today, so I'm going to speak their names. Brother Greg Hodge and
thank you.
Maestro Jerry Teo. Thank you for all the lessons that you've taught me about how to be a better man and a better father and a better teacher and a better community member. And I think that for me, the most important attribute is love and showing my sons what it's like to be tenderly loved by a grown man.
Thank you. Thank you for the compliment, brother. Yeah.
I'm going to change it up a little bit. My name's Kenneth Green, and I happen to be a physician. And I happen to be the son of Joseph and Karaman. And I'm the son-in-law of Baldomero, who in about a week is going to turn 101.
Oh, wow. All right.
And when you ask me the attributes of a father, I think of Baldomero because he raised his 6 sisters. He's a survivor of the Battle of the Bulge. He was a prisoner of war for 6 months and came back and survived the discrimination of trying to get a job as a plumber in the United States here in California. And actually has been incredibly successful, not only as an individual, but as a father. He has 4 loving children who, without fail, every Sunday go to visit, share breakfast, have a meal. And so when I think of the attributes of fatherhood, I think it's sharing that time, being engaged, listening, but being insistent that people live up to an expectation, that they have expectations of how they're going to condone themselves in this life and participate as part of a family. And fatherhood is about family. It could be a family of 2, or it could be a family of 10, but it's about being there and sharing your love, sharing your resources, sharing your attention. Not just sitting and watching the game together, talking about what's in that game, what's the theory behind the game, who's involved, what's the strategy. Make it exciting for the kid. Make it exciting for the person that you're trying to bring up in this world so that they understand how to better survive, understand what they're up against.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Brother Danny.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, bro?
Welcome to my school. I graduated from Merritt.
Yeah.
So, shout out. I got a baby girl. She's always going to be my baby. She's about to be 8 next week. I think being able to apologize like vulnerability. Whenever you do raise your voice, or whenever she sees you out of in a negative space, being able to go back and say, I apologize. That's one. And the second, besides what the brothers up here already said, they all said some solid things, is palabra. I'm very careful. I don't promote where we going next weekend, what we doing over the summer, what we doing for her birthday, any surprises, because I will never forget Pops was like, we're going to Magic Mountain. We never went. So just palabra, be careful with your word.
Cool, thank you. Thank you for that. So as we get into this, we all got a chance to listen hear what Maestro Jerry talked about in terms of some of those lessons. And I'm gonna ask you about sort of key lessons as dads, or lessons that you may have learned from men in your life. And what Jerry said was like, you gotta show up. You gotta do the work. You gotta treat kids in acceptable ways. You gotta be a good man to be a good father. You gotta associate with honorable people. You gotta hold other men, and you gotta surrender to spirit. When I think about my dad, I had two dads. And like a lot of us, we may have had a birth father, and then we had actually the person that raised us. And those are two different roles, right? And so for me, I was, and some of us know these stories, right? I was a big secret in my family. It wasn't until I was 26 years old that I learned that my biological father wasn't the father who was raising me, right? And I'm a little slow. I should have noticed, because my dad, who raised me, is about Jerry Teo's height, and I'm like 6'4", and after a minute, I should have kind of like, somebody mix, this ain't matching up, right? But when I found out that my biological father was not, my dad who raised me was not my biological father, I had to sit down and have that conversation. I was 26 years old, and I always look back at that. That was like a pivotal moment for me as a dad, because I was already a dad at that point. I had two kids at that point. But what my father, David Hodge, did was that he sat me down. He said, okay, I know we're about to talk about something important to you, but let me tell you something before we do that. I raised you, I fed you, clothed you, housed you, taught you the difference between right and wrong, gave you my last name. I love you. It was one of the first times my dad actually said, I love you. I had been watching him demonstrate how he loved me, but he said it, right? And then he says, so now what you got to say? And like once I stopped crying, because I was that kid that cried. I get upset or mad, I'm going to cry, right? And he said, but I'm going to always be your father, no matter what. No matter how you think about it, no matter how this fact of your birth might change something for you, it's not going to change how I love you, right? So for me, that was a big lesson. So I'm curious for the men that were sitting here, any lessons that come out of your experience as a dad, come out of your experience as being someone's son? So, yeah, Brother Joe,
Yeah,
we'll get everybody in it.
Yeah. Is it on? Yeah. First of all, I was very fortunate to be not only raised by my mother and father, but I had two grandfathers in my life and two grandmothers in my life, and I had two older brothers. And so I was just surrounded with men and caring women. But I think the main lesson that I got from my dad and grandfather, who was a Baptist minister in Berkeley, is that you are your brother's keeper, and you do have to get respect, you have to earn respect. And that the other lesson was to give me insight on how the neighborhood and the world works. We used to have to eat together on Sunday, and in fact, throughout the week, you showed up for dinner. And we were told to share what had happened to us during the day. And we would exchange ideas about how we are thriving, not just surviving, but how we have to pass on what we are learning and sharing with our neighbors, because we are our brother's keeper. The other lesson that I think really sticks with me to this day is to stay in a learning and listening mode, because there's always something that you have to share and that you have to learn. So you have to be a learned listener.
All right. Anybody else? Michelle, you want to add?
I learned from my children how to develop an emotional language. I remember when my oldest son was maybe 4, and he was throwing a fit, and we were like, what's going on? What's up? He said, I feel like you're mad at me. I need you to basically be more attentive to my emotions and my feelings. And what that lesson was for me was that up to that point, I felt that it was my responsibility to teach my child how to be in the world. And because as a male, how I learned how to be was to separate and move away from my emotions, that at that moment I realized my son was my teacher. And that it wasn't in that moment for a man to say, no, this is how you do your emotions. You shut yourself off from it, and instead sitting back and opening up and saying, wow, you just taught me how to recognize. And so even to this day, my son is 14 now. He will re-articulate what's going on when I'm upset or frustrated. He said, oh, I see that you're upset. It's a cold piece. Because I'm like sitting here and I'm like, you're so wise. And I acknowledge and I respect and I appreciate. I'm still his dad. I still have to get on his case for different things. But in those emotional moments where I'm fed up and I'm at a loss for words, I listen. And every single time he gives me the lesson.
Nice, nice. Yeah, anybody else want to address that?
I was going to say, just looking at this panel, there's a theme here of peace that comes with vulnerability of not having all of the answers, but trying to work through solutions with the family, with talking to each other, with sharing the vulnerability of, I don't know everything. I may not have all the money in the world. I may not have all these resources, but I'm here for you, and we will work through this.
Cool, thank you for that. Jeff, you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'm going to go back to what I said, this idea of tenderness.
Yeah.
So I'm the youngest of 7, and my father was a very hard man. He's a military man, and I can't remember ever him saying, I love you, ever. I frankly can't remember at any point in my childhood a man telling me that he loved me. And one of the first things that I wanted when my boys got language was for them to say that they loved me. And I felt like I couldn't get them to say it. Like I tried to coax them into it, right? Like, I got a Lego set right here. You love me, right?
He's shaking his head in the front row like, yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, because we already talked about going to get Legos if they got the act right today. And then being around Maestro Teo and watching him be vulnerable with me. I became vulnerable with them. Right? I learned tenderness. And it's funny because I've been a teacher in this city for 25 years. And every year that I've taught a class of young people in the city, at the end of every class, you can ask any of my students, they'll tell you this. The last thing I say to them before they leave my class is, I love you. I love y'all. That's literally what I say. Because, and I tell them that before you leave this room, I want you to know, no matter what happens to you today, if no one tells you today that they love you, I love you. You are loved. Okay? And you're going to walk out to the rest of that school, whatever your day is like for the rest of the day, whatever those streets are like, whatever you're like, you are loved, right? Because I wanted that. I wanted to be the teacher I never had. Okay? But I wasn't doing that with them as a father, right? So I'm fathering, right, a father figure in many other young people's lives. I'm loving on them, but at home with my sons, I'm modeling this hardness, right, that my dad taught me. And when I finally gave myself over to that, now I tell them I love you all the time. If y'all see me sitting there with them, I'm hugging on them, kissing them all the time, like all kinds of tenderness. And now they tell me I love you all the time. And it is the single greatest feeling that I get as a father, right? Hearing those words, right? And they do it in a way that's so authentic and so tender, right? That fills me up with a strength, right? That is so much bigger and more powerful than the strength that the streets try to teach me.
Thank you for that. Yeah, Tony or Danny or Gerald, you want to add anything to that? Anything? before we go to this next piece, I have to, relate to that, Jeff, because my boys are now 29, 27 years old. I would drop them off at school every day, a lot of times, right? And so it was 2 consistent conversations. So the first one was, and some of y'all get this if you have children, like they always have like a preamble to asking for something. So with my boys, it was like, it always started out like this. So Dad. It don't matter what it is, it's always start out, so Dad. And usually it would be like right when they're getting out the car. They're like, so Dad, I need $20 for the field trip. So Dad, I need you to sign this permission slip. So Dad, I'm coming home late today because I got practice. It was like, first of all, on the money part, all fathers know that you have a tree in your backyard that grows money. Because your children think you always have money. Like, that was the first part. And I was like, y'all just counting on me having money all the time? They say, yeah, you're a dad. Like, that's your role, right? And I was like, no, that is not my role. And then I would say, I love you. And then the response usually was, I love you too. I say, I love you. And they be like, I love you too. I say, what? And their friends be watching. I was like, say what? It's like, I love you too, Dad. So it's like that, but that practice, right? And now we're saying that to our friends, right? As honorable men, as holy nobles, as young men, older men, right? So the next piece of this, now we had all of this love going on, but there's some other parts of society that don't love our kids. There's not loving up our kids. Whether we talk about it as white supremacy or structural racism. So I'm curious from the perspective of those of you sitting here, based on both the historical and contemporary trauma that goes on in our communities. Like, what are the ways that you are raising your children so that they're able to navigate all of that? That they can actually be healthy despite what the society might be saying about them. Yeah, Tony?
Yeah. So this is kind of what I do for a living.
I know. This is why I'm pitching it to you first, too, because you get this.
So as Greg points out, and as we all know, we live in a society that tears families apart. I mean, we have policies, or oftentimes we talk about the absence of policy in the face of abject need, which is a kind of meanness, it's a kind of violence that's structural, that tears people apart, tears family apart, and certainly directs it to people of color most intensively. And part of health is, I like to call it the ABCs. Health is about having agency, having some control in your life, some sense of, things aren't just happening to you, that you have the ability to navigate your future and have some hope about what you're trying to achieve. And fathers play a big role in that, in helping guide children towards that light that they have inside them, helping them clarify what that light is. So A is agency, control, power. B is belonging, which is kind of the opposite of racism. It's a sense of being seen and heard in your wholeness, in your full self. Your full humanity is on display to other people that you come into contact with. And fathers play an enormous role in that too. Every one of us knows that moment in your life when somebody saw something in you that you didn't see in yourself and told you about how wonderful that thing was. And it allowed you to see yourself in a completely different way. Fathers do that all the time, and kids listen, they hear that. So the sense of belonging, seeing your whole humanity in front of your parents is so critical to the development of a child. And then the C is really this idea of, we talk about people beating the odds all the time, and one of the things we don't often talk about is changing the odds. The odds are not immutable. They're not God's law. We've created these odds. And giving young people the sense that they can change those odds, not just for themselves, but for other people, is a gift that fathers can offer their children. So when I talk about health, I talk about ABC. Everything else, medical care and whether you exercise and all that stuff, all of that flows from having agency, feeling like you belong, and having a sense that you can change the odds.
That's outstanding. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, Brother Joe.
Yeah, I'm 78 years old, and so I've seen a lot of change. And I can remember when growing up in South Berkeley, where I was born and raised, my father, my grandfathers used to be, and my mother and my grandmothers, they could tell me with some certainty as to how the world works and what you could depend on. If you did X, you would get Y. The world doesn't work that way anymore. We are faced with such rapid change that our obligation as fathers, as parents, is to try to explain this confusing dynamic of change, and it's not easy to do. Think about this. Think about how work is disappearing. Think about how people are being displaced. Think about the trauma in our neighborhoods. Think about how isolated we are as individuals and families, different from when I was coming up, because everybody knew everybody on the block or two that we lived in. We don't have that anymore. So one of the things that I think fathers have to be about is to not stand by yourself. You have to have help. You have to have relationships yourself to be able to navigate this rapid change. That's why I belong to the Brotherhood of Elders Network, an intergenerational group of black men, young guys, middle-aged guys, and old guys like me. So I'm at a table every first Saturday morning with other men, young men who could be my son, or grandson, young men who could be my son, and then old guys like me. And so we learn from each other. So don't allow yourself to be in isolation, because this world is changing too fast for you to understand by yourself.
Thank you for that, Bobby. Yeah. Chair, you want to get in? I'm gonna ask everybody on this one, and particularly my younger folks on the panel, because y'all are living through this change in a way that's different from us as your elders. So, yeah, Michelle.
It is very, very challenging to teach your child pride in themselves as a black man in my case, and also warn them about the dangers of society and racism. And it's particularly difficult when you are still dealing with it yourself.
Yeah.
And I remember going to the store with my dad and the guy not letting him return something or this or that, and I remember the feeling. And we walked out of that store, and my dad was like, "That's okay. We go, something's going, he gonna get his. We go, and I remember feeling so defeated. Like, that's it. That's
right.
That's not cool.
Like, we're not gonna tear the store up.
And so, right. So there's anger.
Yeah.
Right. And then I have to temper that anger when I'm teaching my sons about how to navigate the world. And the lesson that I've learned is to listen to them and how they perceive the world and how they perceive their experiences, and go from there. And so that the conversations aren't me telling him about the context of history or this or that, but me listening to the context of how he was treated in his class, what the kids were saying on the yard, and what they weren't saying. And me asking him, well, what did you feel? What did you think? How did it impact you? Before I launch into, because being a professor, right, that's what I do. I lecture. That I could do it for hours. And so I had to take a step back and say, all right, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. And it took a while before they actually understood, oh, I can actually explain how I feel. And it takes, as a father talking to a boy, multiple times. You can't say, how was your day? Fine. How was everything? It was cool. All right, I'm gonna wait and get you a snack. Okay, so what happened today? So how are things? So how was this? And so debriefing, getting the information from them, because all types of crap is happening to them while they're in school, and they're thinking it's their fault, or they're thinking they did something wrong, or they're thinking that they don't understand what's happening. And so for me, with school-age children, you gotta get to what's happening, not just the assignment and how was work and what you learn, but what did you experience and how did you feel? And let's talk about that.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Gerald, yeah. And as you answer this, Gerald, I'm really curious about, and thank you, Michelle, I'm really curious about, like, for your generation, like, how you think about the role of men who help you navigate all this stuff. Okay, like, how can we be different? Because we think we know stuff, and sometimes we don't know shit, right? It's like
All right, so can you guys hear me? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So education, remember that at-home education I was telling you about? That education is key. And starting off with pre-America, because a lot of us, I know in the black community, we think our history starts with slavery. We need to
Come on now, teach good.
and know what we were prior to slavery, how great of a people we were, what we were doing. And then after that, we need to be educated on the systematic and institutional racism that this country was built on, so that we understand what's going on and not just, like you said, wondering why we're being treated a certain way or all of the above. We have to get a clear understanding, and then that will help us navigate through. And then that we can, once we learn that piece, then like you said, we talk to the youth. We talk to, or if y'all want to talk to people my age, like you said, we talk to them and we ask them, like, what do you feel about this? What do you feel about that? Then we can learn navigation through there, because the navigation is not only with us, it's with you guys as well. You guys are still navigating through society until you die. We're navigating, and the young ones are trying to learn how to navigate. So we all need to help each other. It should be a triangle effect.
Right on. Good answer. Thank you. Thank you for that. So, Jeff, I mean, how would you answer? And you have been joined by a co-panelist. I don't know if you want to introduce your boss. I don't know, assistant. I was about to say assistant, but that's probably not right.
Nah, he ain't my boss.
No.
I got to go home with them.
Oh, I
Greg.
understand.
You understand what you just did to me?
But he loves you. See?
You want to say
Yeah.
something?
You want to say nothing? Okay.
This is Amaru.
Hey, bro. Amadi?
Amaru.
Amadu. Everybody say, morning, Amadu.
Hey, he's named after Tupac Amaru, hey, who was the last Incan king. You want to tell him what your name means? No, he knows what his name means. He gets that teaching every night. So does Tayari. Amaru means strength of the warrior. Tayari means essence of the ancestors. And that's how I prepare my sons for these streets in this society. You know, my name is Jeff. You understand? And my boys' names are Amaru and Tayari, right? And so we talk about change, like that's change, right? My name is Jeff because my mother grew up on the border. She grew up in Nogales, Sonora. And she went to U.S. schools where she was, where corporal punishment was still allowed, right? And so young people from my mother's community were beaten if they spoke Spanish or if they spoke our indigenous language. And folks be forgetting, right, that how close that history is to us, right? And I remember one day I was watching Tom and Jerry. Y'all remember Tom and Jerry? Yeah. I was watching Tom and Jerry, and there was this scene where Tom or Jerry, I can't remember who, has to put on a dunce cap and in school. And I was laughing, and my mom shuts the TV off. She says, let me tell you something. And she told me about how in her school on the border that if they spoke their language, they had to put a dunce cap on and touch their nose to the corner in the room. Wow. And that's why my name is Jeff. My mom's name is Ada, and they promptly changed it to Ada because Ada is apparently too difficult to say. So she thought by giving me an anglicized name that I would be insulated from the things that she experienced. Right? Well, that didn't work out so well. And so what my elders have taught me was that the way that we inoculate our children from the toxicity of white supremacy, okay, the legacy of colonialism, is by armoring them with their cultura. One of the things that Maestro Teo has taught me is la cultura cura, okay, which translates as the culture cures. But what we really mean when we say la cultura cura is your culture is your medicine. And if you don't have your cultura, you don't have your medicine. And if you ain't got your medicine, you're sick. Okay? And so one of the first things that I did, right, with my partner was figure out what names are we going to give our sons, right, so that they come into this world with the armor of their cultura. And then we teach them their names every night so they're reminded of who they are, right, who they come from pre-contact, right, so that when they do go into stores, right, and get followed around, right, when we do get pulled over by one time, right, and spoken to sideways, that they know who they are, and they don't internalize that, right? But they're inoculated because they have their cultura.
Ashe. Thank you for that. Yeah, Brother Kenneth, want to add anything to that?
Number one, it's amazing to be here just looking out on the wonderful audience and the diversity of the audience. I happen to be African American, Filipino, married to a Latina, Mexicana. And so it's very interesting as I travel the world, every culture, every group encounters incredible bias. It doesn't matter how you look, lighter, darker, blonde, dark hair, somebody's going to hold a bias. All the isms that you can think of do exist. So I think when I think about the people who influenced me when I was growing up and going to church, Julian Bond, Dr. Abernathy, Martin Luther King, minister of my church, Reverend Roberts, who took over for Martin Luther King at Ebenezer Baptist. It was really always about how do you find your voice and your sanctity in being who you are as a person. Nobody else can give you that. You can earn more money, you can wear finer clothes, you can live in a bigger house, but that's not the measure of a man. That's not the measure of a father. It's what are you doing in this moment at this time to do the right thing? And how do you consistently make certain that you understand what the right thing is? You see me now as a physician. When I was in Newark, I was being chased through Galesburg and Newark for the riots, right? When I was out here in Santa Clara, I've been stopped by police, I can't tell you how many times, and including one trying to make a house call on a patient. So I had to go and have a conversation with the chief of police and their staff about how they treat people. All of us have the opportunity to change how people look at us, but you have to be able to have the restraint, the self-control, the self-respect, and the courage to say something better can happen, but it's not going to happen if it's confrontational.
Thank you for that. Danny.
Oh, man. This is all the questions are solid and everybody answered it right. I've been note taking and I'm like, which one do I give y'all? Because you guys got the answers. I'm just trying to come up with a different one. Everyone is right. Every single thing that has been said is right and some. So I'm like, okay, which one am I gonna pull? I'll go with some real different shoes. I'm into shoes. My daughter's into shoes. And last night we were cleaning our shoes. I don't always just buy new shoes. I like to keep, I've had these for like 5 years maybe.
Y'all can't see them, but they tight.
So, but I promise you, it has a meaning to it. So I'm, the real basic. I'm gonna just put this down. Is we've all heard it. Don't give you fish, but let me teach you how to fish. And that goes with a lot of stuff. So last night I got home from work and I went straight to the garage and I had like 10 pair of shoes and I just started cleaning. And here she comes and she wants to clean with me. I'm making cookies. She wants to get in there and make cookies. So I know it might sound far-fetched, but when I turn my back, I just want to make sure that my daughter is well-equipped and armored up to go out into the world and create whatever she wishes, and she's going to know how when I'm not there.
Thank you. Thank you. So as we wind this panel up, a couple things we want to say is that the breakout sessions today are along the lines of much of what we talked about today, looking at definitions of masculinity, looking at what's happening in a contemporary society that are challenges to us. What does it mean to be a queer dad? What does it mean to be in work situations where work is, as Baba Joe said, is disappearing? Even this question of identity, this notion that, and one of our ancestors said it is not, I think it was Mary McLeod Bethune who said, it is not what they call you, it is what you answer to. So this whole piece about identity and names, and I appreciate that because my son Chukwudi his mom went to grad school in New Jersey one year, and he was moved from an Oakland, Elmwood environment to a all-white environment. And he calls one night and says, "So Bob, I got to talk to you." And his mom had already prepped me for this. "My new name is Michael." And I was like, "Chukwudi, your name is not Michael." "Well, the kids are having trouble saying my name." I said, "It's 4 syllables, Chukwudi." It's 3 syllables, actually. 3, Chukwudi, like Ada, Ada. That whole notion of like not, like standing your ground on principle, standing your ground on who you are and how you identify. I want you to please help me thank these amazing men who, as fathers, I'm gonna turn this back over to our MC as we go on. Y'all can do better than that. All right.
Give it up one more time for Greg and the panelists. All right. Once again, my name is Armand from 102.9 KBLX. I host a quiet storm for all you grown and sophisticated folks out there. And I'm also a father. I'm actually a father first. I have 3 beautiful children. I have twin boy and girl, 7-year-old twins, Ariane and Ariana. And I also have a wonderful pain in the butt 17-year-old by the name of Nevaeh, who was also on my Facebook Live. And we got about 5,000 views because she is a product of me. And a lot of times we don't take accountability for our children, even with their mannerisms. So she is very, she has a smart mouth, just like me. And I take accountability of that. That was a laughing moment, ladies and gentlemen. If I gotta remind you to laugh, that's a problem.